Planet Vero Studio is powered by the Nolan Group of eXp Realty.
Welcome to Treasure Coast Community Health. We have 8 locations to serve you better. Our staff is dedicated to help you and your family. Here's your host, Vicki Soule.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Community Conversations. If you've been with us before, you know that I have a number of wonderful contacts in the community that Treasure Coast Community Health, as a primary care resource within the community, has several collaborations and contacts with. And about 4 years ago, we started collaborating with CHS, the Children's Home Society. And so time flies, and finally I've gotten their executive director, Sabrina, to come in and talk with us about their organization and some of the wonderful things that they're making happen within the community. So welcome, Sabrina.
Thank you, Vicki, for having me here. I appreciate it.
It is my pleasure. So our collaboration currently is at Dodgertown Elementary. But that is just the tip of what CHS actually does in this community. So why don't you give us a little bit of background? I don't believe there's a CHS, a Children's Home Society, in all the states, and we do have a number of people who've moved to Indian River County within the last year or maybe 2. Mm-hmm. So if you could give us a little bit of history, that would be a wonderful start.
Absolutely. So November is very exciting for us here at Children's Home Society of Florida. Our Founders Day was just on November the 17th, and we celebrated our 120th birthday. We were founded November 17th, 1902 in Jacksonville, Florida.
Now that's going back some years.
That is going back. And so a fun fact that we've been sharing through our Founders Day is Children's Home Society of Florida is actually older than bubblegum. Yeah, so we were founded in 1902.
Older than a lot of things.
Older than a lot of things, right? And but bubblegum was actually created by accident in 1928, we found out. So especially when you're talking to younger kids, which we serve a lot of children here on the Treasure Coast, to say that you're older than bubblegum, they're just like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's exciting because starting from 1902 as an orphanage out of Jacksonville,
Florida.
But
I thought CHS's roots were up north in the New York area.
So there is a Children's Home Society in New York. There are several Children's Home Societies across the country, but Children's Home Society of Florida was actually founded in 1902 out of Jacksonville and was the first placement agency, if you will, for children who did not have parent or caring adults. And so over the last 120 years, we have grown from a single orphanage in Jacksonville to a statewide organization. Mm-hmm. And we serve children from, Pensacola down to Miami. The 15 regions and about 1,800 employees statewide. But here on the Treasure Coast, we have 8 programs. I have just about 100 team members, and we serve anywhere from 8 to 10,000 children annually across the 4 counties.
That's a huge number of children. Yeah. Primarily foster care then?
No, one of our biggest programs is a program, it's called Teen Life Choices. It's in Indian River County as well as St. Lucie County High School. And it's a baby think it over program. And we serve between 4,000 and 5,000 kids in that program every year because you're going in a group setting. So every classroom we're in, could be 18, 20, 25 children per classroom. But we started our organization with adoptions in 1902. So I always like to share that first year as an organization, we finalized 4 adoptions.
4 adoptions.
Last year, fiscal year 2021-22, here on the Treasure Coast, we facilitated 184 children.
That's wonderful.
Yes, finding their forever family. And so that's always a program that's near and dear to our heart. And so far this year, the year just started in July, we're already at 35 finalized adoptions.
Wow. That number just amazes me. Like, where do these children come from? Are many of them already in foster care? And then over time, the families bond and decide that they want this to be a forever situation?
Right. So the children that we're working with in our adoptions program, it's blended situations, right? Some of them come from foster care. Those are kids that they're looking for a forever family. And we have a process where we match those children with forever families. Some children are in foster care, but they are with a foster family that wants to adopt. And so we facilitate that transition. And some children are placed with relatives, aunts, uncles, grandparents, and then they decide as a family that they want to adopt the child. And so it could come through any of those avenues. And as the organization, it's our responsibility to make sure that the family has what they need. So there's a training process that we go through. Then there's what we call a home study. It's coming out, taking a look and make sure that the physical environment is appropriate for that child and that forever family. So it's a process to get to that adoptions finalization. But November is a big month because not only is it Founders Day, it's also National Adoption Month. And so the judges across the Treasure Coast are just phenomenal. They allow us to come in and bring balloons, cupcakes, take pictures that we can share with the community about the good that our team members are doing and just the good for adoptions. The one thing I say about adoptions, it's a gift. It's a gift to the child, and it's also a gift to the waiting family.
Absolutely. I can tell you that we have adopted, and one of our favorite family photos is the day the adoption was finalized in court. As you said, they actually have a picture. We actually have a picture of the judge and our youngest with a gavel that's almost as tall as the child. But as you say, balloons, and what a special day that was. And
finalizations are so fun, and they're heartwarming, and it is that big celebration at the end of a very long journey.
It is.
Sometimes it's very emotional. Sometimes there's trauma involved. But to be at that finalization, to be a part of the experience, we've had adoptions where the teachers have brought the students from classrooms to the court as a field trip, and we've had classrooms participate in the celebration of that, finding that forever family. So it's a good feeling. It's a happy day. And I just appreciate just having the opportunity to be a part of something that is so impactful.
Well, and I have to say that when we were younger, we thought, like many, well, I'll only adopt a baby.
Oh, right.
But the reality is that there are so many children that spend their infancy with family, not necessarily in a bad place, not necessarily in a good place, but over time, as their family situation changes, they are much more needy than a newborn would be in terms of that emotional support, that permanency, that being able to say, this is my family, this is my name, I helped choose my name. I mean, there's so many different things that go with that. And I see a lot of individuals say, well, I just don't have the time, or I don't have the background. And, I think that, when I think back to how naive we were and how little we knew about raising children at the time that we adopted, if we can do it and feel really good about it, so can others. So if someone was interested, how would they begin the process with you?
So they could call our office, and I'll give you the phone number. It's 772-344-4020. Again, that's 772-344-4020. And then there's also an email group. So it's Treasure Coast TC Adoptions at chsfl.org. So all your listener would need to do is get in contact with our office, and we will direct them to the team. I have an adoptions team of about 9 employees, and all they do is adoptions. And so they would be that's where you would start, get all of the information. We have what's called adoption orientation, and it's facilitated via Zoom. You just log in and just hear about the process, what the
Because it
expectations
can be really
are.
scary at
It can be
first.
scary. And there is no such thing as a perfect parent, but
Or
you
a
might
perfect
be
child.
but you might be perfect for that particular child. And so coming to orientations is an opportunity to get those questions answered, the questions that maybe you didn't know, or maybe that question you don't want to ask. There'll be somebody in that meeting that will ask the question. And so it is important for us to give good information so that our families know what they're getting into. But I want to go back to what you were saying earlier about babies. Being that we facilitate adoptions from foster care or relative placements, we don't really have babies. And I do receive those emails, you know, they're looking for a baby, they want an infant. And and it's important for me to be transparent. And so I would want anyone who's listening today who may be considering reaching out to my organization to let you know, we don't really have babies. So those small, tender infants just don't exist very often, few and far between. So if there was an infant, right, who couldn't be home, for whatever the reason was, if that baby went into a foster home, most likely that foster parent is going to move forward with that adoption. Mm-hmm. Because of the way the system is, we have to give the parent an opportunity to be reunified with the baby. And so I do receive those emails and, you know, inquiries, and they're very specific about, you know, the type of child that they're looking for. It's very difficult to meet that need. But any family, and you don't have to, it can be a single parent household, right? There aren't any real criteria on who can adopt. There is a background check. It is important for us to vet the families to make, to be reasonably sure that we're placing the child in a safe, loving, and nurturing household. But other than that, it could be single, it could be married. Sometimes kids are adopted by extended family, right? Mom lives in the home, grandma lives in the home. Mm-hmm. So the family unit has changed over the years.
Has.
And so have the expectations for our process and what we look at as a family.
Well, I really appreciate you giving us that background, but we're going to have to take a short break so that we can get a word in from our sponsors, and then we're going to come back and talk about some other things that CHS does besides adoptions.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Treasure Coast Community Health in-house pharmacies have the lowest prices in Indian River County, even lower than big box pharmacies. Taking your medication as prescribed leads to better health. Affordable medicine makes it easier. Treasure Coast Community Health patients can pick up medicine as they leave the office or use free delivery and mail order services. Pharmacists are always available to answer questions. Switch to TCCH pharmacies. Save money, stay healthy. 772-257-8224 and ask about our price match.
Sunshine Furniture brightens up your day.
At Sunshine Furniture, our 35,000 square foot showroom is filled with the largest selection of in-stock coastal furniture on the Treasure Coast. Dining and bedroom sets, occasional tables, sofas, sleeper sofas, love seats, and chairs, including lots of slipcover styles from Universal, Four Seasons, and Capri. We also have a gallery of Tommy Bahama and Lexington with styles designed for a relaxed approach to the finer things in life. We're having a fall sale with lots of great markdowns, including all pictures, lamps, and accessories half price. Sunshine Furniture, 1295 US 1 in Vero Beach, next to Planet Fitness. Family owned and operated since 1991. Don't forget to visit our outlet and closeout store directly across the street and visit our website at sunshinefurniturecasual.com.
Sunshine Furniture, the best in every way. Have a sunshine day.
It's time to call Easy Brew Coffee and Bottled Water Service and learn just how much you can save and how convenient it is to have your coffee and bottled water delivered right to your home or office. In addition to water coolers, Easy Brew offers individual bottles of water in 8 or 16-ounce bottles. No more lugging it home or dragging it into the office. Serving the Treasure Coast for over 2 decades, 2 letters, 1 simple name. Easy for Easy Brew. Visit e-zbrew.com or call 800-792-3285. Easy Brew.
And welcome back to Community Conversations. If you're just joining us, my name is Vicki Soule, and I am the CEO of Treasure Coast Community Health, which is a group of almost 300 individuals who support 8 different locations where you can receive primary care services. That might mean medical services from a doctor or a nurse practitioner. It might mean behavioral health services, as we have a whole contingent of folks that help not only with counseling and medication management, but also those that have some desire to beat some substance use disorder issues that they might be carrying around. We also have a full dental component as well, and have medications at greatly reduced prices. So that's just the tip of the iceberg. We try to remove all the barriers to care that you might have. So if you do not have a primary care physician or dentist and you are in need, consider coming to us. We are just like private practice, only supersized, so that we can make it convenient for you to come in, whether you have insurance or you don't. If you have insurance, we file for you. If you don't have insurance, we have a sliding fee scale and payment system at, again, greatly reduced prices, so that is removing the barrier to your ongoing good care. And as such, we have lots of great collaborators around the community, and one of those is the Children's Home Society, or CHS. And Sabrina is here today talking about that organization and its 120-year history in Florida.
120
That's
years
amazing.
in Florida.
Absolutely
Yes,
amazing.
It is.
So you started as an adoption agency.
Yes.
But you have certainly expanded services. I know you best from the work that you're doing with community schools. Mm-hmm. So fill in the blanks a little bit over historical times.
For historical times. So right now on the Treasure Coast, my team and myself, we serve children ages 0 to 21. So 0 in our adoptions and case management programs, up to 21 in transitional living, right, in Vero. And so over the years, the programs and the services have evolved. And while we have 15 regions across the state, every region is very different, just depending on the needs of that particular community. Okay. And for us, we've been doing foster care and adoption services since the transition to community-based care around 2005. I've been with CHS since 2000. I started in 2005, so the transition was about 2004. Mm-hmm. So I celebrated my 17th year with the organization in June.
Congrats.
Thank you. And it's been challenging and it's been rewarding. Mm-hmm. But I think what keeps me here is, but we do good, right? We do good work in every area. I think that we impact in this community. And while you and I work closest one-on-one at Dodgertown Community Partnership School, your agency really has supported my team and 2 other very important programs. And that is with my dependency case management program. Uh-huh. I know when we have a dental need or a medical need, I can call you or Colette or someone at your office, and you do whatever you can to get that child in. So they're getting either that medical cover, that medical care, the dental care that they need. And that's really important. And because in where we are, families don't always know what resources are available. Yeah. They don't always know who to reach out to, who to contact, who the service providers are. And having that collaboration with Treasure Coast Community Health, that's a barrier that I can remove.
Well, and we're glad that you do. That's what we do together.
Absolutely. And with my transitional living program, so that is our 18 to 21-year-old up to their 21st birthday. And they are homeless or at risk of being homeless, mm-hmm. non-parenting, young adults. And I have to specify non-parenting because we don't have the capacity to take young adults who have children. And we work with them in a number of areas, primarily around education. So a lot of the clients we get there haven't yet graduated from high school, and we make that priority number 1. Most of our clients are students at Vero Beach High School, but even if they're from St. Lucie County, mm-hmm. They can still come to transitional living. St. Lucie County provides transportation. They have a bus that comes right to the facility. It arrives about 6:10 in the morning. It's an early morning. But they get the child back to school in St. Lucie County, and they get them back to the program in the afternoon. And the one thing I always specify is because we're dealing with young adults, who I like to say affectionately know everything, but then know absolutely nothing. But if you talk to them, they know everything about everything, right?
Yeah.
Really getting them to understand that there's a consequence to every decision, a positive consequence or a not so positive consequence.
But it's a supportive system.
It is supportive housing.
So that they're not out on the streets, scrambling, trying to figure out everything, even though they know most of it.
They know most.
It helps with their choices.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so we have expectations. We don't have rules because you're 18. And so an expectation is curfew. An expectation is learning how to clean, learning how to create a budget for yourself and managing your finances within that budget.
Supportive life skills.
Supportive life skills, going to school every day and volunteer opportunities. And it might sound like a lot, but they're getting supportive housing. They're receiving life skills training from myself and my team. And this community is rallying around them and supporting their cost of living for being with us.
I know there's a Rotary group in town that has been supporting the homeless or at-risk teenagers in both of the high schools because we want to see them be successful. And their primary job should be being in school and doing the best they can there.
Absolutely.
But it's hard if you're on your own.
It is hard if you're on your own and sometimes on their own due to no fault or decision of their own. Life happens to us all. Things happen and you need to, if you don't have a good support system, you're not really sure how to navigate those tough waters at times. And you hear some people say, well, when I was 18, I pulled myself up by my bootstraps and I got it together. And I would say to them, but who was there for you from age 0 to 18? What constant, loving, nurturing adult did you have? Were you living at home? Was your lifestyle traumatic? Was it chaotic?
Did you have a choice?
And did you have a choice? Right.
One of the things that we have recognized in our family is, as you say, when you're young, you know everything. And then you go through a period where you're actually learning things and recognizing things. And then as you get to be much older, it's like things are so different, not just information, but social circles, social expectations, all the internet and technology changes that have happened in the last 30 years. So yay to those that were able to do it, but I dare say that it would have been not necessarily the same outcome if you were transported 30 years into today's society.
Absolutely. I would agree. I was actually having a conversation with one of my team members just before coming over here today, and we were what we call staffing. It's just kind of talking about the clients, talking about their progress, kind of where they are, what are some of the next steps. And one of the team members said, I don't really understand. Like, it's such a good opportunity to be here. They have no place to go. We're doing a lot of work. We're doing a lot of hard work, and they just don't seem to appreciate it. And I said, the one thing I have to check myself on every day is that's my lens. That's my lens that I look through based on my 50 years of experience, right? And so you're talking about someone who's 18 or 19 years old that don't really have that same life experience, the same life skills, and they're just making decisions based on what they think they know or what they think that they've learned in the last 17 or 18 years. So it's trying to remember to see it from their perspective.
So I'm going to invite the audience as we wrap up here that if they have any interest in helping mentor young people, being foster parents, being a part of that support system, to reach out to Sabrina at the Children's Home Society of Indian River County. And please come back next week. We'll have another great guest, and have a wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving Day.